Hey everyone. Okay, so this chapter pretty much marks the beginning of the end, as with both All For One and Shigaraki dead, in a sense. I imagine everything beyond this point is pretty much wrap up, meaning I'm thinking we only got like 7 chapters max left, maybe not even that. And in regards to how the fight itself ended, I do like how Horikoshi chose to end this as Izuku succeeding in expelling All For One from Shigaraki, but in doing so, it pushed Shigaraki's body past its limits to the point where he kind of just he faded away alongside All For One as well. So in a fashion, Izuku did succeed in saving Shigaraki, but not without a price. And truthfully, it was probably the best way for Shigaraki to go out, because realistically, had he survived, he'd be spending a lifetime in prison with no parole. So death was like the merciful ending for him. And I do like the idea as well that this finally puts an end to the cursed Shimura family legacy in a sense, and that Shigaraki can now finally leave this earth as Tenko Shimura, finally be at peace for everything he's done and be reunited with his family in the next life. The only thing, and this is one of the few marks against this chapter I'm going to say, which is to say that I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big fan of with this chapter is the ending. Like, it's it's that thing once again where, because of the way the chapter was paced, the ending does work, but it also feels slightly anticlimactic as well. Like, pacing in this second half of the story has always been one of My Hero Academia's biggest problems, and this ending, while the ending did land, it's also true. It felt like it could have been paced a little bit better as well. And yeah, on that note, let's talk about All For One himself, because, not gonna lie, after all the plans, all the scheming, all the bullshit he's put the whole world through, it was just really nice to see him get an earful from his brother in his final moments, and really get to see All For One for who he truly is. Like, someone who could just never let go of his brother, someone who was so obsessed with the idea of him being the only one who could be there for his brother that his obsession became an innate fear, a fear that he was going to be left all alone with no one there for him by the end. Yet, ironically enough, Yoichi was still there for him in the end to say one final goodbye. Like, All For One's tale, when you really get down to it, is truly one of self-sabotage. His intent to forcefully keep so many things close to his chest ultimately ended up with him losing so much by the end and being left to wallow in the misery of being left alone as he died. Which, despite my gripes about All For One sticking around maybe for longer than he should have, I do admit this was kind of the perfect end to the man known as the world's greatest villain. Someone who had so many plans, so many just so many ways of destroying the world that he thought of destroying the world, that ultimately he just ends up fading into nothingness completely alone, without even his brother there. And with that said, I do gotta admit, I am feeling a little bit iffy on how things ended for Kurogiri, because while I do like his sacrifice from a thematic standpoint of Kurogiri just always being the one there for Shigaraki, he was the one who was always loyal to him, and ultimately make the sacrifice to help him, Oboro Kurogiri's story is the one part of this story that has felt the most undercooked. And in truth, the story that I think Oboro's story was the one that I think was affected the most by Horikoshi needing to shift direction of the story much more away from the villains, because I imagine if he wasn't forced to do that, then we would have gotten Oboro fleshed out more. But as is how things end for him, it's fine. It just could have been way better. Aside from that, though, I do like Shigaraki's final moments, asking Izuku to deliver a message to Spinner and to tell him that he fought right at the end to destroy, and Izuku just responding, everything's already been destroyed. There's There's nothing left to do but rebuild. So just a small. I like just little moments like that where it's just a small moment of respect between the two by the end. And for Shigaraki, I like how it does show a parallel to All for One in the sense where where Shigaraki died still thinking about that one person in the end that he truly cared about and the one he was fighting for, whereas All for One died only thinking of himself and his own vanity, his own self-obsessions, and just how he can control his brother. But ultimately, like, Shigaraki was the one who had more caring and heart for those around him, whereas for All for One, yeah, he basically just saw everyone else as pawns to his greater ends. But but yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Twitter, Analyst Control, be sure to hit your bell, subscribe button, and just share it for everyone, guys. Dark Knight of the Night signing off. Later, everyone.